Apparently we're live, we're live, we're live, we're live. Boom! Welcome, it's Sunday morning. This is The Art of Rock. We are talking about music and making your music happen. Join us every Sunday here, but it won't be next week because it's the day after Christmas, which some people call Boxing Day. Some people don't call it anything. I think that's a pity because it should get a name. This is brought to you by Angelspit's Patreon. Many of the amazing Angelspit Patreon supporters are here. And if you're not a Patreon supporter, you're welcome to hang out. It's totally cool. And as usual, we're just keeping everyone going. Angelspit's new album is called Diesel Priest. And people like it, which is good. Maybe you will too. Go listen to it. Grab that madness. And also Angelspit's new crazy, insane thing, which is called Sequence 1 Glass Jar. It's kickstarting. And it won't be kickstarting for long. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on there that won't be available after the Kickstarter. So if you want it, you need to move on that now. Talking about things you want to move about on now is a whole bunch of bands you can learn about on Spotify. They're new, they're exciting, they're fantastic. You should find out about them because they rock. That's their URLs and stuff. Hex and Raven has a new EP. It's bloody awesome. It's right there. If you like music that's non-stop, you need to watch MTV TV because it's the best. And if you've got a video, send it to them and they'll play it because they rock. They've also got a Patreon to keep them going because they rock. And this Thursday, Angelspit's on there at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's Thursday the 23rd. We're doing an interview with them, and it was very fun. And I hope you find it as ridiculously crazy as I did because it's bloody great. Welcome. All I can say is welcome to Art of Rock. I want to start the ball rolling. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, Diana. I got that wrong. Okay, I'm going to post it in there right now. For some reason, it said Thursday in my email, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to fix that now. Look, it's all fixed. Wednesday. Okay, we're going to just do that again. On MTV TV. It's just crazy. Everything's crazy because crazy is where it is at. I want to talk about Spotify, if I may. So I learned something really interesting this week about Spotify. Hold on, I have to get to my notes where I wrote down the interesting things I learned about Spotify this week. I learned 3 things about Spotify this week. If you haven't claimed your artist profile on Spotify, I highly recommend you do that. It's so important. A lot of people really poo-poo Spotify. But at least you don't have to pay them in cocaine to play your music, because that's what you had to do in the good old days to get your music played on the radio. And in this day and age, it's just, I think it's really excellent. Yes, they take a lot of money, but our world's based on greed and hate. So, yeah, there it is. That got dark, didn't it? I learned 3 really cool things about Spotify this week. 1, when you upload a single, because what I'm doing is I'm releasing single tracks. And if you upload a single, when it becomes, they'll put it through their pimping engine, which is, it's in Spotify for artists for upcoming releases. If it's already been released, you can't push it through those chains. And if you push it through those chains, there's a bump in what you release. There's a bump in it. But if you push it, if you pre-released it, you don't have the option to push that out. So what you need to do is release it as a single version. And that single version might be different. It might not be different. It will have a different ISRC number. You might truncate the end of it or whatever. But it's got to be different. So then you can push it. Ta-da! Second thing I've learned is that if you credit remixes as co-artists, the track that they remix will appear in their Spotify artist area, and they'll be able to push you as well. They'll be able to push their remix specifically, which is really excellent. and you can only do one pimpage at a time. So I just did a remix for Cut Like This, and it came up because the new Angelspit single is coming out. So I've pushed it through, but then I got a notification saying, okay, the Cut Like This single's coming out. Do you want to pimp it? And it's like, I can't pimp it. It will only let me pimp one thing at a time. So, bottom line is, get to know it because it's a really valuable tool. It's a bloody awesome tool. But that's the end of my spiel. Does anybody want to throw in on that? Or anything like that? Wow, not a word. Okay, good. Julius, you had a question, and let's address that. The first one. Yes! Okay, awesome. So my thoughts on this is that what they hear should be as close to the CD as possible. Because it's a thing about electronic audiences, and this could cause argument, I don't care. Rock and roll want to hear a rock and roll version of it. Electronic audiences want to hear something as close to the CD as possible. When I do this, I will actually render out the instrumental version, and that goes to my mastering guy as well. And that will be used live. So it will be a rendered version of the live track of the actual master, the CD master. It'll be an instrumental version that gets used live. And so the question is, how do we do this live? Like, because I had your mic muted, I apologize. I think that you should be presenting a mix that is as good as possible, because remember, those speakers are, when they're not playing you, they're playing club tracks. So do the best you can. Just whatever the mix was for the album, take out the vocals. I don't think it needs any extra EQ or anything like that. We have talked a lot before about having mono tracks. I'm all about mono tracks. And you might say to the mixing person, if it's a mono mix, just pan them center. Because there might be stuff bouncing on that side that gets lost. Excuse me. I need more coffee. So that's my thoughts on it. Eric, blow my mind, baby. What you got?
Just to reiterate what you were saying, Carl, and we touched on this, I think, last week or something, but bounce it down to mono, Julius, for sure, and get it as close, if it's not mastered yet, get it as close to your final mixed version as possible that sounds good to you. Shit, there was something else I was gonna say and I forgot. Get it in the mono, mute your vocals out, but you may want to keep your backing vocals in to make it sound fuller. So just mute, like, the parts you're going to be singing live, mute, but anything else that you can't do live, I would personally leave in because it sounds fuller. Are you going to be using do you have any idea, like, are you going to be using a laptop or an MP3 player? Do you have an idea?
No idea yet, but I would have access to both, so yeah.
If you're using a laptop, like, you can bounce it down, render it into and put it on an MP3 player and play it. Like, any venue that you're playing should have some kind of DI or something you can just plug it right into and it'll go through the system. If you're using a laptop, definitely still render the track down to one track instead of having multiple tracks, because there's less things that can go wrong with the tracks themselves. Just get it down to that one track and keep backing vocals in, and get it to the best mix you possibly can in mono.
And master it. Totally agree. Alex.
I hope it's also available on Windows, but on Macintosh you can you can set it up so that your system sounds don't get out of the just get out of the main speakers and not of your audio interface. Maybe that's also a good idea, so you don't have the system sounds if something gets wrong. You don't get the ding.
Say that again. Oh yeah. Sure,
yeah,
totally. And
error
airplane.
messages.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you only get really your tracks out of your, or maybe you have like a 4-channel audio interface and use the fourth and third channel, so your system sounds go somewhere else and not to the audience.
That's actually a very incredibly important piece of advice. And because a lot of people also use their phones. Here's Melissa. A lot of people use their phones. And if you're going to use your phone, hey Brandon, if you're going to use your phone, put it in airplane mode. Because I've seen that backfire many times. Hey, we're going on stage. Here we go. Woo! Tweet. And people are just replying the whole time. Although I think the Gossicles did that once, and they obviously use it to their comic advantage, as Brian does. Very, very brilliant. Does anybody else have anything? We're talking about tracks for live. So if anybody else has any thoughts about doing tracks for live, please let me know. Jump on in. Because this then goes into another conversation.
Yeah, there are of course dedicated machines for that, but sometimes they're expensive. But there are also ones that are like quite affordable. There's one where you even can have like 2 parity laptops, and if one goes out, the other one will take up. But I think that's a bit more advanced.
That's a great idea. Also, like, because what a lot of people do is they just push to play on the 2 devices at once, and often it's just this one long continuous WAV file or MP3. On that, you might want to think about getting a rack, like a live rack, like a gator case. And if you do, make sure it's not too big or too small. Because the thing about a 3-tool high gator case is it's the same size as a briefcase, and you can take that onto a plane. And you can put your laptop in there, a small DI in there, and if you've got effects for your effects box or anything like that, there it is. And there's one power cable coming out the back, so you put the thing there, take out your laptop, set it up, and it's boom, 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 go. Because bands that take a long time setting up is the biggest pain in the butt ever, I think. Does anybody else, this is good, does anybody else want to throw in anything crazy into this craziness?
I would have more questions, but I think we can maybe put it after Julius' second question.
Okay. Julius, the second question. I got a question.
Yes.
Today feels really fucked. I'm looking around at everyone and they're just going, I'm feeling a bit buggered as well. So I want to know, my friends in Germany, does today get any better?
In what way?
Like, do we wake up? Thanks, Vince, for getting it. No, it was very meta. Today gets better. Just say, yeah, today gets better.
Yes.
When he said in what way, I was like,
Yeah.
that answers the question. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
The NFTs or?
Yeah. Vince, congrats on the NFT sale.
Yes. Congrats, man.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I mean, I don't know. It's not that huge of a deal because, like, the whole collection sold that mine is part of, but it all sold to individual people still, or as individual sales. So it still worked out. They what they did was it was a random drawing. There was only 9,999 pieces, and people paid $60 each for the NFTs, and then they got whatever ones they got. So the guy that bought mine actually has 9 other ones as well. But the thing is, I get 80% of the money from the first sale, and I get 10% on every resale after that. So it's continuous income, even if like nobody wants it and they keep selling it to everybody else.
Good job, mate. Good job. Julius, you had a second question.
Yes, sorry that I couldn't answer yours because I'm a dumbhead.
It wasn't a clear question, so that's okay.
My second question is about video setup at home, especially for small spaces. We attacked this topic months ago, and we also had an Art of Rock about making music videos on a shoestring budget, I know, but I'd like to focus on more smaller. I'm missing the word. I hope you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And e.g., what equipment do I need? What should I pay attention to when it comes to sound or to lights?
Okay. I have a cat issue to deal with. Diana, can I give you the ball here? And can you answer the question and throw it around? Because I know a lot of, like, I'm going to throw it to Grim. I'm going to run away. I'll be back in 30 seconds. But yeah, Diana, can you be in charge just for a sec as I deal with the cat situation? Grim, go.
I have the power.
You sure do. I'll be back in a minute.
So Grim, what were you?
Hey, first and foremost, I would say LEDs. There's a lot of LEDs that are increasingly inexpensive, and there's a lot of smaller units that are rectangular that you can attach or retrofit to your camera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot that come with a lot of color options too. But yeah, just take it from a guy that's done it like probably at least 30 times. I'm like, I'm going to put my faith in a light bulb, and it looks like it lights up the room pretty good. But what you see versus what the camera sees, or whether or not the camera lies to you, is just a whole can of worms you don't even want to open. So I would definitely recommend LEDs. That's a big deal. From a photography standpoint, it doesn't matter. Like if you get several LEDs going, think of a picture booth at any event ever, or anybody that's got a lighting rig. You eliminate a lot of headaches if you do what they call 3-point lighting. So that's literally what I have in my studio right now. I have a headlight with the white photography umbrella, and it doesn't have to be a photography umbrella. It could be a white background, but something for that light to ricochet off of that comes head on. And then I have 2 fill lights on the side. And what that's going to help is help cross-eliminate shadows if that's your desired look, because that's usually a headache. People are like, I love my background and I love this green screen thing, but I got this glaring like shadow thing. I got the shadow monster following me everywhere I go. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, like I said, LEDs and 3-point lighting. And if I haven't recommended it already, I'll find it somewhere. There's something called the 25 shots, and it's like a basic shot list for probably every movie you've seen ever. But there's a lot of really good videos that also explain what that conveys. So if I were to give you a short example, if you put it down at a slant and the camera's facing you, it's a representation of power and that you are taller and that, looming, threatening, impending doom. Vice versa, if you flip the camera down and point at you, it's diminishing, it looks smaller. So there's quite a lot of tricks that you can do even in a limited space, so to speak, to really make that, work for you. But yeah, I'll find some links and I'll send them in the chat.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Grim. I just got the tail end of that. Eric, go.
I actually have questions to go with Julius, or Alex, or sorry, for Aaron or Diana or someone, or Carl, anyone who's done this green screens and just broadcasting stuff. And Aaron was just saying with the lighting, 3-point lighting, but like, what about like throwing green screens? Like, what's the best way to use them? What programs? How do you go about doing stuff like that as well?
I
Because
will.
I know nothing about this too, just like Julius. So this is learning for me too.
All right.
So.
Well, I'm gonna let Diana or Aaron answer that one. I can answer it. You guys have got just as much or more information about this than I do.
Well, I mean, green screen doesn't have to be huge anything. Mine's on a T-bar stand. As long as you try to make it as, taut as possible. The 3-point lighting is an excellent idea. But then you're just filming in front of the screen, and then editing and in the programs. We're using OBS with MTV TV. Premiere is one. You can get stock images and do some sorry, I'm trying to find my words. There's plenty of free stock images out there to use for backgrounds and things. Like, we have our background and then we have ghost fish moving behind us. Yeah, there's so much out there.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to throw, if you want to keep going, keep going.
No, I don't feel like I'm being very helpful. I'm trying to find my words.
No, you're being very helpful. Grim.
Yeah, I was going to kick in with that. Also, don't underestimate. So we've talked about this before with like storyboarding, but at least at a minimum, write down your ideas. And it doesn't have to be the best sketch in the world. It could be stick man here, stick man there, bird, whatever. You write all it down. But the point is, you kind of have an aimed focus instead of turning the camera on and going, shit, what now? You know what I mean? If you have it written down or you have it drawn out, though, you'd be like, oh, yeah, this is when I'm in the chair. This is when I'm at the desk. This is in the corner. This is, behind the door, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, do not underestimate lighting and color. Think about what different colors represent. I've said this before, but an awesome experiment we did in high school was just walking into one of our theater rooms, and the teacher had completely put orange gels over the entirety of half of the lights in the room and blue on the other half. And you'll be surprised how many people gravitated toward the warm side, the orange side, even though it wasn't any degrees warmer. And then a lot of people on the cooler side were actually kind of like pulling their hoodie sleeves down and crossing their arms because they had that mental, whatever you want to call it, the stick in the wheel. They had that idea that they were stuck on that. Oh my God, this side of the room is so much colder. So think about that visually, because cold can be isolation and darkness and emptiness, or. Just think about colors big time.
Thanks, man. Alex, I'm going to go in after you. Go.
Well, I have a question that also follows that.
Can I hold on? Then can I just throw in really quickly?
Go first.
Oh, you're the best. So I'm just going to basically say everything Diana said, yes, and obviously Grim as well. Make sure it's taut, because getting crinkles out could be hard because it's looking for a straight green screen. Light the crap out of it, and shadows usually for me appear down here. Also, air conditioning units also appear. I don't know why that is. And lighting will get rid of air conditioning units and synthesizers. So make sure there's a lot of lighting to get rid of all of those things. Sorry, that was a Sunday thing. No one really gave a shit there. So make sure that there's heaps of lights going on, because usually when you see somebody moving on a green screen, you'll see this pixelated thing usually in behind here. Here's Adam. He'll want to say a whole bunch about green screens. Make sure that that's happening. Also, taut, lots of light, and don't wear anything green or resembling green, because it's going to get knocked out. And sometimes with me, my eyes get knocked out because I got green eyes. Now, so Adam, we're talking about green screens, and if you have anything to add, because you've done a lot of work with them, do you want to jump in? And also talk about software that you use. I will just say really quickly that don't underestimate OBS's green screen. I actually think OBS's green screen is one of the best green screen filtering. The chroma keying on OBS is really good. But Adam, I'd love to welcome back, and then I'm going to throw it to Alex because he's got a question.
Sorry I'm late. Was talking to mom. Mom priority. But now I have coffee and I'm glad to see you. Okay, so I hope I'm not too repetitive on something that's already been discussed, but green screen is a world that we've been living in. So I would say a few of the most important things are you want to have as few wrinkles in your screen as you can get. You want to have as flat lighting on the green screen itself. So what I do is, so here's the screen, looking at it, the camera being this direction, right? Is that I have one light on here and one light on here, and they are both casting onto the screen itself. And then I have lights in the front on the other side that cast onto me and the gear to fill, you know. So it's really actually basic photography lighting, like basic photography studio lighting. The lights on the side also kind of add some rim lighting, which helps when you're cleaning up the key. I agree with Carl that OBS is a very good. It definitely has good chroma keying. The trick there is that you have to match the color and the vibrancy of that color as best as you can with the color picker, and really mess around with those sliders to get the best keying that you can. I still find that I get a lot of green around the edges. You know, if you're moving, you'll still get green around the edge a little bit, and that doesn't really matter that much though. And it smooths out pretty well on OBS using the I can't remember which fader it is on the thing there, but it's the similarity fader, I think it is on there. And so you can get good separation with that. Again, though, it's really about getting the separation, because if your green screen is like dark and muddy, you're not going to get good separation no matter what. You need to have that light on there. That green screen needs to glow for it to really work well. The tool that I use most, so we use green screen a lot for MTV TV, and I do all the production for MTV TV and Premiere. And Premiere has a fantastic, it's called Ultra Key, and it has this little eyedropper tool, so you can like average it based with the eyedropper, so you don't have to go through the whole color picking thing. And it gives you so many adjustments, like to get the tightness of that key, like how, it'll like literally cut into the figure to get rid of more green and that kind of stuff. It really has so many controls, density and opacity, alpha, all that kind of stuff. So you can really, you can go a lot further. If you're using green screen to do music videos, that's the tool that you're probably going to be looking at, is like Ultra Key or whatever its comparable tool is in other production suites. For oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Carl.
dude, I'm sorry. I just want, I want you keep going.
Oh, for broadcasting, I think you're pretty much going to be all about OB. I didn't actually catch what the goal was in the first place, just that we're talking about green screen. So music video, it's going to be like, you're going to be working with something like Premiere, and broadcasting, you're going to be working with OBS or something darn similar as well.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay, hold on a minute.
Useful.
That was great. Thank you, everyone. Like, Eric, you brought up a question about shooting a video with OBS. I want to go back to that in a second. Aaron, I see your hand, but I know that Alex had a question as well. Aaron, are you there? So, Aaron, if you're specifically wanting to talk about green screen.
It'll literally take 10 seconds. I just want to give somebody a visual representation.
All right.
So, photography umbrella is my key light coming at me. Little side dealio. Side deal, fills. So 3-point, boom, boom, boom. I just know sometimes it's really abstract when you see a sketch and you're just like, what the hell is everybody talking about? It's literally could be as rudimentary as that.
Can you spin your camera around again?
Yeah.
This
so
is
where
great.
I'm sitting, you can see my photography umbrella. In other words, it's kicking the light at the umbrella and coming back to me, so it's not as harsh. It's not a stabbing light coming directly at me that will make harsh shadows. And then there's my fill light, which is, they call them soft boxes. And I've got one on either side. So that's my 3-point light. Bing, bang, boom. And it doesn't have to be full blown. I mean, they're getting more readily available and cheaper, and they're LEDs, so they're going to last like insanely long. But if you don't have that budget, still lean toward LEDs, even if they're small, and still do 3-point, and you'll find a way to help. There's reflectors and diffusers and all kinds of stuff to help bump up that. It doesn't have to be a money game. It's just a placement game. So.
Yes. Okay. I just want to add to that. And then I want to throw it back to Alex because he had a question. Just be aware also that different bulbs have different temperatures. That's the great thing about LEDs is they're pure white. And thanks again for that, Grim. That was brilliant. So everything is going to be seen basically precisely as the colors intended, and digital cameras love LEDs. When you start using halogen bulbs or house bulbs, and house bulbs have all of these different temperatures, you will actually start shining different light on a colored light, more orange light or more blue light on what you're shooting, and you might see it. So be aware of that. If you're going to use house bulbs, make sure they're all the same kind. And I use a lot of house bulbs. Adam, I see your hand, but Alex, I haven't forgotten about you. Adam.
Alrighty then. Yeah, I totally agree with you on the color temperature stuff there. Fluorescents work well. If you get the kits that have the big compact fluorescent bulbs like the photo kits, that's what we started with when we started broadcasting our DJ shows on Twitch. Of course, then we upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. The other thing that you're going to want to think about is how much room you need for your screen, because for instance, yours is what, like 6 feet wide? Yeah. That's like 1/4 of my green screen setup, because I have this huge long thing, right? So that I can do full length and have multiple people DJing on the show kind of thing, is to have, a lot of space, as much space as I could get in the living room, right? And so whereas Aaron's got 3 lights there, I've got 5 on mine to do full length. Usually I have 4 for the shows because I have 2 filling with soft boxes and 2 on the edges. On the LED lights that you could, so I'm gonna say Amazon is a great place to get them. Look at that. What is it? Neewer, Neewer, that kind of stuff. That's one of the knockoff brands kind of thing that make actually pretty good stuff. The soft boxes are a huge deal, Aaron. Nothing fills the pores as well as a soft box. You do not want hard light. The harder your light is, like the more shadows you get. Right, I look awful now because you can see how like greasy I am in all my pores, right? The softer the light is, the better it's going to look.
And a nice trick, if you can't make the light softer, put baking paper over your light, and it will diffuse.
Yeah, like wax paper.
Yeah, wax paper will diffuse
parchment.
it really well. Tissue paper is great too, but it does have a low burn rate, and you want to avoid that. But although certain lights put off no heat, but wax paper is great because it's got a high, very very high burn pressure, temperature. Adam, I interrupted you. Were you done or?
Well, the only other, I think that you jumped onto a good thing there. Like making modifiers is a big part of photography. So if you only have harsh bulbs, bounce that onto a white card, right? So that the light is not pointing at you; it's pointing at the card, and the card is pointing at you, and that'll diffuse light for you as well. Like white card will bounce light, black card will absorb light. So if you need to get rid of light in places, you turn the black card to it, and if you need to bounce light into places, you turn the white card into it. I'm talking about just that, like, that foam core crap that you can get at craft stores, right? They make great modifiers, and you can cut them into different shapes and stuff too, which is cool.
Brilliant advice. Did you want to add anything else, or can I interrupt?
Well, the only other thing that I was going to say is that Eric asked back in the chat over there, can you make videos with OBS?
Yeah, that's something we want to talk about in a minute.
Okay, I'll be ready for that.
All right, I want to focus really quickly because there's some really good things that have come up here. If you use, because you can buy those fluoro ring lights, and ring lights are amazing, but the problem is they put out a lot of fucking light. And they will blow, they can easily completely blow stuff out. They eliminate shadows because it's a ring, you put a camera in it, and basically the camera will not see any shadows because of the ring. Yeah, it puts great rings in your eyes. I love it. I wish they had a cat eye light, so it would put cat eyes in your... And actually, if you ever want to see what lighting they're using in a photo shoot, look in their eyes. And their eyes will get, you'll see all the reflectors will be reflected in their eyes. Rayman trick. Anyway, so if you have too much light, either wrap cardboard around it, certain areas, to start dimming the light, or, use more of this wax paper. Before we jump to this Eric question, where he is. Alex, talk to me. I'm sorry, man. You've been so patient.
No problem. I think it fits quite well at this point. My question is, if you're having a camera that accepts like objectives, which one would be great ones to start out experimenting with? What are the price ranges where they're acceptable? And also, if you have any tricks how to psychologically help yourself get over the hurdle of recording yourself for video, talking to the camera, etc. That were my two questions.
Okay, let's attack that first one. First, welcome Drake, welcome Rose. Adam, tell us about lenses.
So by objectives, you mean prime lenses? Yeah, prime ratio lenses. So one of the things that's going to be a little bit... why can't I get my hand to lower? There it goes. Okay. One of the things that's a little bit strange. So when you're using prime lenses, you're usually using like it's going to be a DSLR, right? So the thing that's going to limit you with that is that sometimes you're going to want a tighter shot, and sometimes you're going to want a further shot. So I think generally speaking, zoom lenses are how do I say this? You lose a little bit of sharpness with a zoom lens. You're going to get more sharpness out of an objective, a prime lens, but that's only really going to matter if you're talking about doing like your 4K video kind of stuff. And I think that if you're getting into doing the 4K video and that kind of thing, and then the best thing to do for that would be to find a really great photography store that you can rent stuff from. Because lenses are glass is expensive, man. Good lenses are thousands of dollars. So the trick there is to decide which system you like the interface with. Some, I'm a Canon guy. Some people like the Nikons. But those are going to be like, those and Sony are probably going to be your top brands for like, yeah, there you go. For that kind of thing. Those are amazing for doing like, you put it into a gimbal, that kind of stuff. You'll get great shots doing your music videos and stuff with that. Great. For broadcasting, you don't need anything that fancy. Like if you're just doing a broadcast show, like, obviously we use the webcams. that are built right into the laptops. It's enough to get you by. You know, when we record the New Music O'Clock stuff with Diana and I, we're doing it on Zoom, and so we sit on our green screens, and then I take that recording and produce it. You have to make 2 copies of it and cut us into the different spots and all that kind of stuff. But like, so we're just using the webcams for that. What I use for the DJ shows is this great little thing. It's called a Zoom Q2N. And so the thing that's cool about that is that it has 5 different view settings that go basically from like very wide fisheye, like 140 degrees or something like that, to like very tight, you know, like close-up style, like, you know, for doing like your talking head kind of thing. And so that's a very good, it also acts as the audio interface, right? I plug the mixer into that, and then plug the camera as a webcam into OBS, and I get amazing sound, and I get really good quality video. And the camera, it does 4K as well. It is very, very sharp. You would be hard pressed, I think, to tell the difference once something is fully produced anyway. You know, at this point, like this little thing here, this little Sony snapshot camera, I've had this thing for about like 8 years or something like this. It takes great little 720 and 1080 video. And so having little things like this is great for getting some extra B-roll and that kind of stuff, or if you just need something that you can kind of float around in the club or whatever, it's good for that. And you know, so my answer on prime lenses is that the real trick with prime lenses is that they are designed so that the ratios are exact to the size of the format. So in the case of a 35 millimeter camera, if you have a 35 millimeter lens, you are looking at exactly reality with your piece of film, whereas a 50 millimeter actually compresses it in a little bit. Right. The other thing about lenses is that when you're using a zoom lens, it actually makes your features look nicer. So when you shoot portraits in a studio, you actually shoot from a long way away with a longer lens. And what that does is it makes your ears look smaller, it makes your nose look nicer. It brings all of your features closer together by compressing the distance. It's pretty simple math, but so that's my long answer on lenses and cameras and different uses. Therefore, I guess.
Awesome, thank you, Graham.
Hey, so yeah, great tie-in. Adam hit on this to a degree, and I want to tie it together with what Alex was saying. So Alex was saying, like, how do you overcome that mental hurdle of seeing yourself on camera, et cetera, et cetera. I think the unsung gold in a music video is the B-roll footage. That's what Adam was talking about. I'm sure quite a lot of people have talked about it. You can never have too much footage and get a shitload of footage. If you have something that you like in your music video that involves a symbol, a relic, a desktop ornament, a focal point, a journal, a piece of paper, whatever those images are that you've storyboarded or written down, that should be a lot of your B-roll footage. So in other words, to overcome a lot of that mental, I don't really like the way I look on screen, once it's intermittent and it's intercut with all of this B-roll and you start to thread it together in editing, the video is going to start to kick some serious ass. But where it gets stagnant or where you get stuck on this mental, like, I don't like the way I look thing, is when you're holding too long on a shot, So just as a general rule of thumb, I wouldn't hold on anything, and I'm not trying to get too convoluted, but I wouldn't hold on anything more than like 6 to 8 seconds, unless it's like deliberate. You know what I mean? It's like, think about most of the things you've seen in media, whether it's commercials or movies, they don't tend to live in a moment and hold with somebody for like 30 seconds at a time because people, I don't know, attention spans or people don't like it or whatever. But like I said, I would just definitely encourage you to get just a shitload of footage. Always use your B-roll. Always have a lot of B-roll and intercut that with you on camera to help overcome that.
Awesome. Rose, welcome. Tell us your thoughts.
As far as like getting over the mental hurdle, what I found is that if you know, like leading up to, this is like before you actually do your video shoot or anything else, different ways that you can prepare yourself for that is to, you know, do stuff like what I do on my channel, which is I have like a little show called The Cutting Room Floor, and I talk about horror movies and I talk about anime because I love them. I watch them all the time anyway, might as well, you know? And doing something like that where you get to just talk about something that you're super passionate about, you'll find that you'll get so wrapped up in that subject that all of a sudden you're not even thinking about that camera anymore. You know what I mean? And then that's how you can get more comfortable, is really just by doing it. It's just like anything else. You know, the more that you do it, the better you'll get at it. You'll start to, what I like to do sometimes is I like to shoot with the camera facing me so that I can be sure that I'm like holding myself at a good, you know, I'm not like drooping and stuff like that. Cause you know, sometimes you'll just not have you can't see what's happening. So you'll just inadvertently kind of slouch or, you know, make yourself look like sloppy and stuff like that. And that's really just a matter of practice and learning like, oh, okay, I have to like put my shoulders back. I have to put my neck up. I got to tilt my chin down a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's just a matter of learning, you know, any person that's ever done any kind of modeling or anything like that can tell you that that's like a really big part of it. It's just literally being in front of a mirror and being like, okay, this is my good side. This is my good side. That's my not so good side. You know, things like that, even though they sound kind of shallow and silly, really will help you become more confident because then you're going to be knowing like, oh, okay, when I stand like this, I look baller. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to look really cool. I look badass. Like, this is a cool pose for me, etc. You know, and you can do that with lots of other things too. You can, what I often do sometimes when I'm like in a cool costume on a gig or whatever, I'll actually like set a timer and I'll have it take like a certain amount of photos. So then I'll be like, oh, you know, this way I'm not worried about like, you know, trying to like angle it or whatever. I'll just put the camera in a good place and I'll practice, you know, and that's something that you can do at home too before you do any kind of shoot or whatever else. And that will get your confidence up and you'll feel really good about yourself. And when you have that confidence, it shows through in your performance and you'll perform better.
Thank you so much. That was great. Adam, I might go in after you.
Okie dokie. I think Rose nailed something there. Modeling. Something you might consider would be finding a local artist friend with a camera, a local photographer friend, maybe work out a trade deal or buy them lunch or something to do a photo shoot with you, because that will, you know, if you get a few good pictures of yourself, it really goes a long way to making you feel good about yourself, right? And somebody that has the camera eye helping you with that, I think Rose really nailed it. It's like once you've gone through an experience like that, you have a better sense of what works for you after it. And I would say the other thing on the confidence topic is that you don't have to use the stuff you don't like. You know, one of the things that Diane, I'll tell you, I'm goofy as crap all the time on a camera because I learned not to care. I'm like, you know what? I spend a lot of time on a microphone, like DJing weddings and stuff like that. You just kind of get to this point where it's like, oh, if I overthink this, it's going to be worse than if I don't think about it at all. You know, so you just kind of get on the microphone and you're like, hey, I'm a fucking idiot. Here we go. And if you're just kind of okay with like, you know, like you're the one that's holding the mic, you're the one that's on camera. They're there to watch you, man. It's like you're the show. So be the show, just be you. you know, do you and do your show. And I don't think that, you know, and again, like, if you don't like the way it comes out, do it again. You know, you don't have to show people the thing that you don't like. But I think that's probably the deepest way to get into your confidence, is to just be you on the camera until it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you both. My thoughts on this is, it's really hard. Modeling is hard. It's way harder than you think. It's not as easy as Zoolander. It's really hard. Yeah, thanks. That's a good blue steel, Eric. Or was that Magnum? I just can't tell. So it's very, very hard. And, you know, we've spoken before about how the trick is, I think, don't do anything at all into the camera. Perhaps finding a photographer and saying, there's two things I need to do. One, I want to have a session with you where you're going to help me not hate looking at my face a little bit less, and let them, you know, help you through this. The second session is going to be a video shoot and a photography shoot, where you might be up against a green screen or somewhere. I don't know. That's another conversation. But you are with somebody who has a cinematic eye, because having somebody, you know, it's like saying, I need a remix. So the guy who's a photographer has GarageBand, so I got him to do a remix, and it's crap. I think it's exactly like saying, well, I'm going to get a musician who doesn't, or myself, who doesn't know anything about this shit, to throw together a video. You know, and I listen to you guys talk, and I go, I don't know this stuff, which leads into the conversation with Eric about fucking OBS. Get someone who knows what they're doing. It will make such a difference. Oh my God, because they're gonna have gear with them, and you know, it might be so worth you paying them. It will be worth paying them, because if it's a good video, you know, we're talking about 100 views versus 1,000 or 10,000 views. Get someone who's good. And as far as the camera goes, the trick is you have to look into the lens, and you have to focus. There's a little black dot. You've got to focus on that black dot. And you've got to, like, project energy to that black dot. And that's the trick, I think. And, yeah, you just got to have someone who's going to catch that energy. Because if it's out of focus, or the lighting's bad, or there's too little lighting, so it's digitized and pixelated, or there's too much lighting, so it's blown out, doesn't matter what your clothes and your makeup are doing, you fucked it. They're just my thoughts. Does anybody else have something and have fun? Like, all of this has come down to everything we've talked about today, learning to know your looks, what you're confident in doing, comes down to experimenting, fucking around, having fun. And once again, in music and in the production of music and all of this stuff, you need to have fun. It's fun. Fuck around. There's going to be a point where you may need to pull in a professional, and then you're going to fuck around with them. So, does anybody else have anything they want to throw in here? Because there's been so much good information and I'm learning so much. Or am I throwing it to Eric about OBS?
Actually, I was gonna ask another question too, but yeah, with OBS, yeah, can you make videos with that? I know Alex mentioned in there that you can, but it's a little janky. And actually, Adam, I was gonna ask you directly too, so I'm glad you're raising your hand. Especially like your show last night, like it looks so dope, dude. Like your production and everything, and you and Diana on there, like with the green screen, it looks so good, dude. And I know you were saying like when you were moving, you can maybe still see green, but I can't detect anything ever. Like it looks really good. And just going back into that, like I know you guys use it for broadcasting more, but your production with how you guys put that together, do you use OBS for that? I know you use Premiere as well, and I have a video program I can use too. But what, like, how do you guys go about putting, like, getting that TV in there? Like, I know you said you have 2 videos, like having Diana on the side, and like last night had a Van Gogh behind her, and you had the speakeasy. How do you go about like doing videos like that and putting them together? And does OBS or Premiere have that stuff in there, like your built-in TV on MTV TV? How do you have people talking in that? Like, what are all your secrets?
I'm after you.
I
Try
have
and keep
many.
this short. We've only got an hour, and I want to talk
Okay.
too. So keep it short.
Good luck keeping me short
Well,
on this.
yeah, I mean,
Okay,
like, I don't mean to be like a bastard, but like, this is a big question, and there's so much
It
to
is.
offer. And I'll keep mine short as well. Go.
All right, so the quick nuts of this one is that OBS to me is a place where you compile your design. So I do most of my design in Photoshop, but I envision the way that I'm going to create it for OBS. So when I need transparencies, I make PNGs. And so that's how I do the frame outs and that kind of stuff. And the other thing that I do is I use stock video, and I will find I know I've mentioned before that I subscribe to Envato Elements, and that is a place where I find lots and lots of stuff that I can use. So like the TVs, when we do the all right, so kind of 2 different things. Like when we do the Saturday night shows, that's in OBS. That is all done in OBS. All, you know, it's all layering is what it is. So like the furthest back layer is probably the image of the speakeasy, right? The furthest forward layer is probably the text layers. And then I'll have the camera layer, the frame around Diana was 1 layer, and then she's behind that frame, but then behind her was the Van Gogh animation, so that she looks like she's in the painting. And I looked like I'm in the speakeasy, and I had the little cartoon ghosts that were drifting up in the thing there, because it's a speakeasy, not a speakeasy on Goth Night. And so all of those are layers. So like image layers, video layers, transparent layers that have just the thing that I want there, so there's nothing else in it. Some of it's chroma keying to do the green screen.
I'm going to be right back. Adam, keep going. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
I get to keep going. So, you know, when we do like spooky spins, right, I've got the haunted house is 1 layer, and I did all that in Photoshop. The bat border is another layer. I have a video playing behind that that's like semi-transparent so that it looks purple, you know. So all the video clips that are going on behind that thing's like an hour and a half long loop of clips, and it looks purple because it's, you know, because the opacity is lowered, and so it blends. And then I have a layer that's like the lightning bolts that kind of go off at random. That's actually like a plasma ball, and I'm just using a corner of the image so it looks like lightning bolts instead of like this weird like thing that it actually does in the middle. And you know, of course, Diana, it's like, you know, I make a spot for her, you know, so the background layer is purple, then I have the haunted house, and then there's a little cutout there, and that's where Diana lives. We bring her in through Skype. It's called the NDI plugin for that. You need to get the plugin for it. So that plugin sends her camera into my OBS from 300 miles away. Last night we had her on the mic, which we don't usually do that on the live shows. We've had her kind of off in her little space there kind of thing. But since we did a whole different, you know, last night was a listening party as opposed to a dance party. So we decided to do it, you know, that, you know, broadcast DJ college radio style, I guess. It's college radio with less ums and less dead air. And so when we do the MTV TV stuff, that's all done in Premiere. And it really is just the same thing. It's layers and layers and layers. I use a stock image that is the TV thing, but what I'm doing is I'm actually just cutting a piece of it out and repeating it over and over and over again. And then I have the beginning of it when it sort of turns on and turns the static, and then I have the end of it when it turns off with the static kind of thing. And then in the middle, it's just that, you know, the handful of seconds in between, repeated. You know, the aqua room, you know, the underwater living room background, that's a layer, and I copy, you know, kind of thing. So as for your question about doing a video in OBS, here's a funny thing for you. When I did the couple of live shows of Skeleton Closet, I did them on green screen, recorded it with OBS because I was bringing the PA in through that as well, right? So I've got my backing tracks, I've got my live vocals, and you know, like Loki was backing me on one of the shows, and on the other show, I had my boombox, and that was kind of funny, right? Because I was like, "This is my backing track today. Is my boombox, right?" And it wasn't actually operating. It wasn't doing anything. It was just a prop. But so I shot both of those shows on green screen, and then I brought them into in OBS. I recorded them with OBS, and then I brought those into Premiere and put the backgrounds on it so that each song would have a different background. Or the one show where I was kind of like, you know, the joke was that it was, you know, like just the boombox in the aquarium room kind of thing. So what I ended up doing, since I had that footage, right, when I was like, oh, you know, so my previous videos were like the lyric videos with the stock footage that I could clip together. The first ones, it was all free stock, whatever I could find. And then I got the Envato thing so I could get more narrative stock kind of thing to make the lyric videos. And then so when I the last two videos that I did, I was kind of like, oh, well, you know, I have these bits that I shot on green screen, and if I like zoom the hell in on the thing but like make it some layers, it has this kind of nice softness to it, you know, and the color layers and the snowy stuff and all that kind of stuff, right? And so by just taking literally two shots, I had the one shot from one show, which is just Loki and I, right, doing the song standing next to each other, and then the other shot is just me with the boombox doing the songs. But what I did was I took those two pieces of footage, and then, you know, by cutting into the size, like it's like now it's me up here instead of me back here, you know.
This is great. Hey Adam, can you what about, like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interject, big, I'm a cunt. So as far as actually making a music video, can I give 30 seconds worth if I could just be a prick?
Actually, you know, talking about somebody who can produce a music video in OBS, that's Carl. Like,
well,
you know,
thank you. So here's something crazy about OBS is that because OBS is live, you have a different mindset. It's a lower quality. It really grains the processing speed because you can't render it. You know, if you do stuff in real proper video stuff, there's a slow rendering thing, and that's where it's slowly putting it all together. OBS doesn't do that. It's all live. So the bad side is it could look a bit crap. The good side is it's fucking live. So what you can do is you can set up your keyboard because it's got a whole bunch of soft keys, and you can set up your keyboard to go to a different frame, to go to a different scene. Turn on and off all this stuff. So you might have a video of yourself rocking out to the song. You might have another video of yourself running around in the desert. Then you might have some of Adam's ghosts that are floating up. Then you might have some text. Then you might have like all of 4 or 5 different things. And some of these things, because you can loop video, some of them might be like this 15-second long loop that just loops. But the thing about it is you're cutting on the beat. What's this? I don't know. I'm just cutting all these things. And you can have the same scene with different things going on. So as a result, in OBS, you can build up something nuts. Totally, crazy. that if you settle, it's like doing a DJ set. That instead of sitting down meticulously programming your video clip, which might be batshit boring, you can have all of this random crap that's a chroma keying on top of each other, and it's all madness, with the core track of you going, yeah, I'm singing the song and I'm going nuts. And here's another camera. Here's the B-roll. Adam was also talking about the B-roll camera that's here me and I'm going nuts. And you're doing it live. Then what you might do, because OBS is the way it is, I have found myself personally, there is a really slight lag in the cutoff, in the actual cutoff of OBS. The video to the audio, it's out for me. Don't know why. But I then pull it into Vegas or whatever the hell it is I'm using, and I slot everything together so it's a bit tighter, and out she goes. So get to know OBS. Once again, play. You have been given permission to play, fuck around, make mistakes, and have fun. Boom. Do it. Do it with your green screen. And it's even better if you don't know what you're doing. Because when you don't know what you're doing, you come up with these crazy things because you don't know that you're not supposed to do that. You just do it anyway. So have fun. OBS, yeah, do it. And like Adam was saying, put stuff together in Photoshop. Put other stuff together in whatever your video software is. Slap it together. And remember, you can do green, if you import a PNG like Adam was saying, it's transparent. If you have a video and there's a green dot on it in that video, and you chroma key that green out, all of this fun stuff you can do. Do it. Adam, you can keep going, or I can throw it to Drake. Drake.
On this subject, I just have not anything to contribute, but just another question. I'm sort of getting into OBS for live streaming and that sort of thing, and just scratching the surface. So I'm curious if anyone has plugin recommendations. It is pluggable, right?
Adam? Short. This is a big one.
There are plugins. With open broadcast software, a lot of the plugins are open software. So caveat emptor. The plugins that are going to be super useful are going to kind of depend on what you're doing with it. In my case, having the NDI plugin is crucial. Having the VLC video player plugin, I don't think that you can really. I think you get so much more out of OBS if you have the VLC in there. That is something that literally made MTV TV possible, is that I can program our shows and play it through the VLC player in OBS. It's also very useful for running background stuff. So like when I do the Retro Rumpus shows and I have the Saturday morning cartoons on in the background, those are all video files that are playing in a VLC player. That I am then using as a background in my background kind of thing. So it plays in the TVs and all that kind of stuff while plays behind me while I'm DJing in the big TV kind of thing. So the TV layers, Eric, those are PNGs, right? Where I've done the cutting out in Photoshop. It's like I take this image and I built the TV stack in Photoshop with a bunch of, just randomly Googled images. And then cut it all out and do all that in Photoshop, and then those layers then those become sort of the top layers, and then anything that you have behind that, it's like you do the transparencies, then you do the chroma key, and then you have the layer behind that is the it can be a video, it can be an image, it can be whatever.
Awesome. Thank you. There are a whole bunch of plugins. You can get lost in the plugins. My suggestion is don't, because that's holding you back from making the actual content. OBS comes as it is with everything you need to do something amazing. the crazy thing about OBS is that its ability to pull stuff in from the web in real time. So they can be real-time statistics about what people are watching. Twitch has all of these little tiny breakout URLs where you can put a little thing over here that's saying who's watching or who just subscribed. There's this really cool thing called OBS Ninja. And what Ninja will do is it'll get your phone, it'll give you a URL, you send your phone to that URL, and it will access your camera. And then Ninja will bounce that URL to OBS. So you import that URL into your OBS screen, and it's your camera. So, and the latency on Ninja is like 0. So you can take your camera and go for a walk 300 miles away, and because you're sending it to the web and the web is bouncing it to you, it's fundamentally real time. Oh, well, there's a slight delay, and I mean slight delay with Ninja. And there's a whole bunch of really crazy things like that. So my thought is don't go crazy. Yeah, because it's just like fucking VST plugins. It's like, oh, I've got all these synthesizers, but I'm not making content. But maybe that's me projecting my thing onto everybody else. Spraying my thing onto everybody else. Aaron?
Hey, so I know we also, to steer back, I guess, in the lighting, because I stumbled across this gem again. There's a lighting system that's pretty economic. It's RORY, Rory. It comes with 2 ways that you can fuel it with power. It's got a rechargeable battery, which is the shit. So you're not going through alkalines like they're candy. Or worst case, if you do need alkalines, it's got 4 ports for that. But the light is compact, but it's completely badass. It also comes with gel inserts. You could dial up or down the intensity. And like this thing, good Lord, I don't want to blind the whole world.
That's bright.
It's stupidly bright. Like that would be enough to be like headlight and then some in a small room atmosphere. That steers back to what Julius was talking about. But yeah, dimmable, and yeah, I didn't even have it all the way bright. Like it's like a damn solar flare. But the good part is they're becoming more and more economic and great to use. But yeah, Carl touched on it briefly. If you are on a very tight shoestring, if you do use household bulbs, ensure that they are all the same. Get a 4-pack and use 3 of them. But if you do go the LED route, they're infinitely rewarding, and you got a lot of flex room with what you can do with them.
Thank you, man. And I just want to jump into something that Adam said in the comments, being that the more plugins you have plugged into OBS, the more processor heavy it becomes. Because OBS is using a lot, it's live video, and it's using a lot of grunt. And I would be suggesting that if you're doing OBS, the computer is focused on OBS. It's not doing anything else. It's not doing your music. You have another computer to do the music. It's just doing OBS. – 12 seconds. We made it to 12 seconds. So if anybody... No, I see Rose's hand go.
Hey, what's up? So, yeah, somebody mentioned Newer before. So I just wanted to talk about those lights. They actually have a really economical option that you can get. It's on the evil Amazon. It's like $45. It's 2 lights, and it comes with tripods as well. This is what I use for the cutting room floor. To put out a lot of light. It also comes with like little mini gels. They're about this big. I'll put a link to it in the chat for you guys.
Are they Rory? Are they the brand that Aaron's talking about?
No, they're the brand that somebody else brought up earlier. They're called Neewer, Neewer. And I just wanted to expand on that because I actually use those lights. And they put out a really decent amount of lights. They dim. You can, they come with like a battery pack and stuff. So you can like, they're really portable. You can take them anywhere. It comes in like a pretty decent case. Yeah, and they're not super expensive. They have like varying options of expensive, but even the small ones are pretty powerful, and the light lasts for a decent amount of time. And what I do is sometimes I'll just you can buy extra batteries and just have those charged so that if they do die, you can just slap another battery in there and keep going, Pretty cool.
Good job. This is blowing my mind. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up about this or any other subject or any new questions? Alex! Vince, you're next. Alex, what you got?
Okay, going back to Julia's earlier question regarding backing tracks. What are ways where you can make your backing... sorry, my grammar. What are good ways to make your backing tracks more interactable? Like maybe you have a filter that's actively moving it. Or I think in one of your tours you had like recorded oscillators that you then patched into the Eurorack. Yeah, maybe if you have Ableton Live or something similar, what are ways to make your backing tracks more interactable and more fun?
Okay, more fun? All right, well, they're all good. Like, I used to take Thermans and stuff out. I still do, technically. I just haven't been out in a long time. So a fun thing to do is if you have other tracks besides the kick, the drums and the bass, you put them on different tracks. Like, just say there's one more tweakage track, and let's say the main stuff goes out. Your left track is your main mix that you don't fuck with. But then on the right track, you might have all of the, bits of instruments that you do fuck with. And they might be little bleepy bloop sounds or something like that, and you might run them through a Chaos pad or a filter or an echo device or something like that, just to like have fun with the mix. It is a lot of fun. It does add some kind of craziness to it. I used to run everything through the like through filters and stuff, but I found that was kind of overkill, because you gotta keep, everything's gotta be, it's gotta be laid down, and when you're fucking with shit, you lose the audience, so you run that risk. So having bits of bloopy bloops that you can fuck with is always really good fun. Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? They're welcome to talk about live fuckage. Or not. Yeah, anyway, all right, or I want to throw it to Vince, unless I'm cutting anyone off. Vince.
Okay. I had a question regarding Spotify from way earlier. Do you need a concrete release date to submit something to Spotify pre-release?
Okay, so when you go in through DistroKid, right?
Yes.
Right, so you will have to put in your release date into DistroKid. You also have the option to have a pre-release date, I believe, like a pre-sale date. So what happens is, okay, I submitted my thing a week ago, and I got the thing today. And Rose, I will apologize, because I saw yours came up as well, and I thought, cool, I'll do yours as well, but it will only let me do one at a time, which I was bitching about this morning. I was like, fuck, I have so much to learn on this shit. Vince, go. I didn't answer the question, but please keep going.
My question is, see, because Spotify will let you submit a track directly to them.
Okay.
Without going through DistroKid. Now, if I were to do that, do I need a concrete release from Spotify to give them when I send it to them pre-release?
I will say yes.
That becomes a problem.
I actually don't know, because I've never done it directly through Spotify. If you do something through Spotify, how do they pay you for plays?
Okay, well, I don't know. Well, the thing is, you can submit a track directly to Spotify pre-release. Like, they prefer you get it to them 2 weeks before its actual release date.
Right.
But I don't know if you need a concrete release date to give them to be able to do that, and I currently don't have that option.
Okay.
To get a release date, because if I submit it to DistroKid on, the 17th, then like it might be available on Spotify by the 20th, but I don't know for sure because I don't have a premium enough plan with
All right.
DistroKid.
It is with my greatest, and I know I'm not answering the question here. With the greatest, the other week when we were talking about the timeline thing. Were you here for that?
Yes.
All right, great.
I have the spreadsheet
Right.
and everything.
Use that timeline, because I know when you finish something, all you want to do is get the damn thing out. Do the timeline and do it properly. And if there's issues, give yourself more time. Because I don't, as a rule, upload it to DistroKid, to anywhere until absolutely everything is in place. Artwork, the blurb, the press release, the whole fucking thing. And then 2 weeks before it drops, I make the Bandcamp thing go and then run pre-sales on Bandcamp. But that's just me.
Okay.
Yeah. And the more time you get it, the further they can push it before it drops. And that Spotify's fucking pre-release thing is so powerful. Like, it's insane. It's really, really good. Did I answer your questions? Do you feel good about? Because I'm going to throw it to Rose. Rose, did you want to answer this, or did you want to talk about something else? You want to answer it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. The floor is yours.
So yeah, I agree. I agree with Carl entirely. It sounds to me like you're not ready to release it. You just want to, and I really understand that. What's up, Vince?
I'm definitely not ready to release it. That wasn't my question. But the thing is, I know Spotify has a separate thing to submit to their playlists before it's released.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that yet. I need to wait until I get everything finished before I do anything with it. But the issue I have is that with DistroKid, you've got your different tiers of plans, and only I don't have one of the two higher tier plans that let you pick a release date. I don't know if you need to have a definite release date when you submit a track to them, not through your distributor, because it hasn't gone through them yet.
I still think that if you don't have a release date, then you're not ready to send it out.
I never have a release date.
Okay.
I can't get a release date because I don't have a plan with DistroKid that allows me to set a release date.
All right.
Gotcha.
Officially is whenever they actually get it to Spotify.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
That's a problem. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I understand your conundrum.
But it doesn't actually get there the date I submit it because I don't have the option to schedule it ahead of time for a specific chosen release date.
Right. Okay. I guess you just got to weigh up. What's the thing to do here? I mean, yeah, you just got to weigh it up. I mean, if it's worth going that extra step, I personally think it is, because this whole pre-engine of Spotify where they'll go in and push stuff out is has such value. It's what's going to put you on the new release radar of everybody who already follows you, and it's also going to push you into new markets. And to be getting a boost or it's basically a free piece of advertising. It's this free thing. It's a free publicity push that other companies charge a lot of money for. So you might go, maybe it is worth it. I go up to that one step. And if it's for a year, you plan it in such a way that you're going to do 3 or 4 releases or 5 or 6 releases in that year with DistroKid. Therefore, you're making it worth your while. In fact, maybe you should go into that tier with DistroKid, release something every month, just one track every month. Making sure that everything's in place, and you would have to plan that out like a crazy person, or every 2 months, and therefore be utilizing Spotify's playing it to the artists Man, I'm telling you, dude, today is just the verbs not working for me day. Like, it's just brain connection. You know what I mean, though. So I hear your conundrum.
Okay, so to chime in, I actually just did that. So when I'm using DistroKid for the first time for this next release, and when I went to go in, I saw I wanted to do the pre-order and the pre-save because we talked about it on the Art of Rock, and I thought it was like a really good idea. So I just want to tell you what it's like when you upgrade it. What they did was they actually refunded me what I had paid for my subscription, and then they just, they tacked it on to the, just the extra. It's only an extra $15. It's worth it. I think it's worth it for, it's $15 for an entire year. It's not $15, an extra $15 for like a month, like it's not an extra $15 you're paying every single month. It's literally just for the entire year. It's absolutely worth it. And that way you actually can set your date, because I had problems with setting my date before as well. And that's like a huge thing.
I'll just go yours.
Does billing date to when you paid to when you upgraded, or does your billing date stay when you originally with what it was from when you originally signed up?
Pro rata. So if it's 6 months in, I think you're only paying 6 months worth, I think. But let me just chime in as well and say that.
So it keeps your billing date the same then?
I believe so, yeah. But I won't. You are not going to find a promo press that is going to be as effective as this will be for $15. It does not exist in God's green earth. I do shit for free for my friends, for free, and it's not as good as this. So the hashtag of this is make sure that you've got your Spotify artist. Make sure that you tag all the things correctly. If there are other featured artists or if there are co-artists, because Rose, you tagged me as a co-artist, right? Yeah, you did. And no, that's great. And thank you. That means that it came up in my feed. And we were talking about this in the beginning, as me as a Spotify artist, it came up in my feed. So I had the opportunity to pimp it, but I couldn't because I'm already doing this other fucking release. Sorry. I'm sorry. I threw it to the DJs though. But Vince, what you need to make sure is that you've got all of that shit in place. And if you're working with someone else, make sure they own their Spotify artist and make sure they are pushing it when it comes up. Because they will get an email saying, okay, you've got a new release. It's time to do all this new release stuff. You can do it, dude. And if you then do a new release every 2 months or something, your shit's going to grow. Because it's pushing it onto people who probably might like your stuff for free. And I was telling you guys the other day that the average cost per click on Spotify and similar services is 50 fucking cents. And that's not a save, that's just clicking on your track. So, yeah. And it's a tax deduction. Yeah. Does anybody else... Julius, I see your hand.
I wanted to go back to the actual problem of Vince. Just a solution approach. I have the same membership as you. I have the basic membership on DistroKid. And I think when you submit tracks to DistroKid, you can uncheck to where it delivers. So maybe you could just uncheck Spotify for this one and instead deliver it directly to Spotify over your claimed account on Spotify.
Yeah, it's going to work out better for me to just upgrade my account maybe slightly before I originally planned on, because doing that, see, Spotify is still going to want a release date officially for when your distributor is going to send it to them when you submit it to Spotify.
Yeah.
Going through your distributor, Spotify through their direct program to get it onto their playlists, you have to have that to go about that without going through DistroKid initially, but then what if you don't have a release date? My option is going to be to upgrade my account, possibly more than I planned on, so that I can get the release date set properly for the release coming up. Because I'm not sure if it's going to be March or April as of right now, because I got to figure out when I'm going to have new studio monitors. Well, not new monitors, actually. I need a power supply for my monitors at the moment. So I got to wait till I've got that before I can have a concrete plan for when I'm going to release anything right now.
Print out that horrible bloody document that we talked about the other week. Print it out if you can, and put it right next to your monitor. So every day you are looking at the thing and saying, oh my God, today I'm supposed to be dealing with fucking promo. I'm supposed to be making sure that blah, 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 blah is done today. And in the next few days, I have to have this shit done.
I also need to force myself to be in the studio a little more often right now, because I've got stuff I'm planning on doing and I keep not coming over here to do it.
I drink to that. Okay, that was a really excellent exchange. Drake, your hand was up. Oh, are we good to move on, or? All right, cool. Drake, I think I saw your hand.
Yeah, I popped some stuff into the chat there.
Can I ask you a question?
Pretty much covered it.
Can I ask you a question really quickly? Did Spotify send you a thing saying your release is up, from your Angelspit remix is up?
No, I didn't receive
God
any.
Damn it! I fucking tagged them wrong again. Man, I fucked this release up so badly. As I was saying at the beginning, make sure the remixer is in there as a co-artist. I fucked it. And when you're doing a single that's off the album, make sure it's a new version of it. You could just trim a 1/10 of a second off the end, or add a 1/10 of a second. Make sure it's got a new ISRC, and yeah.
I think you can go in post, Carl, and have them update the metadata.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking do that. I just feel so shitty about that, because I did it for the last one. Because the bloody names didn't come up right, because I'm an idiot. The names didn't fucking come up. I'm a fool. Anyway, that's fine. It's a learning curve, and that's what we are here to learn. Does anybody else have anything they want to throw in? Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to call it. And I'm thanking y'alls for... This has been a really good day. Actually, Rose just put her hand up. Go.
One last thing, I just posted in the chat the link to the pre-order for Bandcamp and Spotify for that badass Angelspit remix.
You're the best.
Check it out. The artwork is super dope. I spent a long time on it. Thank you so much, Carl. I was like, if I'm going to work with Carl, I got to really go all out. I went totally insane on building this boogeyman creature. It was like insane amounts of work, like just a lot of special effects and stuff. But it came out super, really, 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 really cool. And the video is going to be really, really cool.
Have you shot the video yet?
I shot the scenes of just the boogeyman. So I have a bunch of those that I'm going to chop up into little promo clips. And we shot a bunch of really ridiculous TikToks as the boogeyman. So yeah, those are coming soon too. And I'm just going to be posting little snippets leading up to the release of the song. And I'm going to try, if we can try to squeeze it in with all this stupid holiday stuff, to shoot the other 2 scenes that I need for the video, and try to get it as close to the release as I can. We'll see what happens. So shooting videos is expensive and hard. But even when you're doing literally everything by yourself, painting prosthetics and building them, and it's a lot, but it's super fun. So I'm really glad I at least have like all these clips of the boogeyman, and he looks so cool. He looks so scary and awesome, and he's glowing and creepy. That's me, yeah.
Excellent. So it's technically the boogie person.
No, it's the boogeyman. Like I wore like a chest binder, like all this stuff. I totally transformed.
So,
I look nothing like me.
I need to ask you, so is there such a thing as the boogie girl or the boogie woman?
There are all kinds of mythology. I'm really huge into mythology. So there are all kinds of mythology of spooky nightmare demons that are female.
Because I know
for sure.
Stevie Wonder has Boogie Reggae Woman, but not the
I did not
Boogie
know
Woman.
that. No.
Boogie Reggae Woman's a great track, but go on.
I kind of see the boogeyman as a kind of a non-binary creature anyway, because the boogeyman can technically transform into anything. So it could be a boogie woman. Why not?
Yeah.
But wanted
that's a song, man. I'm throwing it at you now. That's a song.
I'm gonna think about it.
Oh yeah, you got it right there. and the Boogie Women are driving a Cadillac down Fifth Avenue with afros. Boogie Woman, yeah, and it's like crazy metal that they're just funking out in a Cadillac. This is gonna happen. Yeah.
Oh, you're the best.
All right.
So funny.
Well, I'm going to call it. Diana, let's go to MTV TV because life's bloody good and it's a good day. And I am going to put the MTV TV link right there. And Diana's going to rate us on over. And we're going to watch some amazing new music. Your new favorite band is waiting on MTV TV. Get on there right now. We'll see you. And we're not doing this next week. The 26th, but we're going to be back on January the 2nd. Power and strength and love to all. Bye. Bye.